Welcome to our very first Happy Strong Kitchen series where we cook happy and eat strong. Today we are making a few different dishes because in this household we have someone who eats keto, someone who eats a typical bodybuilder split, even though I'm not a bodybuilder, and we also have a daughter who eats vegetarian. So we're going to get Mediterranean in here, and we're going to make some chicken kebabs, we're going to make some tofu kebabs, and on top of that we're going to do some homemade caramelized onion hummus. Now, we cook here for health, but we also try and be responsible with what it is that we buy and what we purchase. On top of having a keto, a bodybuilder style, and a vegetarian, our 12-year-old is normally with us. She is on sleepover tonight, which makes things a little bit easier. But we try and do things frugally in the kitchen while still focusing on whole foods, happy foods, and foods that make us strong. We're gonna make a family favorite of chicken kebabs, tofu kebabs, and for the first time ever, we're going to try a recipe of caramelized onion hummus, which is not as hard to make as you may think it is.
So we've got our ingredients and we're going to show you how to make these dishes step by step.
So watch along with us. Here's what you're going to need. The very first thing that we're going to do is make the marinade for the chicken and for the tofu. And today, Gemma, who doesn't normally do the cooking for dinner, but does make a mean flapjack, even though you're keto.
That's true, but I make it for everyone else because they love it so much.
We're gonna start off with the marinade, and that involves these 5 spices and some salt. And we're also gonna use some Greek yogurt and some extra virgin olive oil.
I'm just having a look at the spices because even I don't know what they are. Well, cumin I've heard of, paprika, heard of, white pepper, who knew? Garlic granules and herbs de Provence.
Now you can use any herb. It doesn't have to be, we happen to like herb de Provence in this household. Doesn't need to be that. You can use rosemary, you can use oregano. Usually I would use oregano, but we're actually out of oregano, so we're gonna freestyle it. And a lot of cooking in the kitchen, when you're cooking happy and eating strong, is about freestyling it and making it your own. So you can use this as inspiration or you can follow it exactly. We will give you the exact as we go. You ready?
I am, but there's one fact that I just want to call out quickly.
Call it.
What were you, was it the top person in the whole of the county?
I was.
For the purchase of
Herbs de Provence.
In 2025.
Yeah, my 2025 Wrapped included letting me know that we were the highest purchaser of herbs de Provence in the county.
Which just goes to show how good it is.
We love it. Now we've got 1 mixing bowl for the chicken and we have 1 mixing bowl for the tofu.
Let's get going.
Okay, so normally when I'm cooking for the vegetarian as well, we'll make the marinade here before we add any chicken. We keep the ingredients very far apart from one another just to make sure there's no cross-contamination. And Gemma is going to do the yogurt and then I'm going to add the salt and the spices. So Gemma, if you want to open that yogurt up, creamy Greek style, and I will take that as your wonderful assistant.
I hope that you weren't expecting a full tub because I might have eaten some for lunch the other day.
No, I wasn't, don't you worry. So
Okay.
if you want to add a really healthy amount, maybe about, so if you're measuring this, I would say 300 grams, but I will roughly know it's 300 grams. I've done this many, many times. So you just go in, it's about a third of that top.
Okay. This is interesting for me because I'm learning.
Yeah.
Normally it's Andrew in the kitchen.
Learning's cool, kids. Okay, a little bit more. All right, good, good.
Good?
Yes.
Now,
Voila. Now, normally, again, because I've done this a lot of times, I would probably just do it by eye, but today we're going to measure it out so that everyone else can follow the recipe. So we're going to go with 2 heaping tablespoons of herbs de Provence. Don't be scared of herbs. They are cheap, they are healthy, and they are very, very flavorful. Next, we're going to do a teaspoon, almost, of white pepper. Then we're going to move in with 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, and this is the money. So 2 go in. Then we come to the sweet smoked paprika. You can use regular paprika, you can use smoked paprika. It's entirely up to you. 1 teaspoon of that, which is perfect because we are now out of that jar, but don't worry, we have a lot more. And then again, we've got here, we're normally back to 2 teaspoons of cumin. So here is 1, and here is 2. And again, we're now out of cumin. It's almost like we planned this. And what we're going to do next, you can see I've got gloves on, that's for the chicken, is we're going to mix this up. So we're going to take the tablespoon,
which I stole,
that has disappeared.
Yes,
That's what happens in this kitchen. If I turn around once, whatever I've laid out to use for the cooking is usually put away by Gemma. She's very, very good like that in terms of being tidy. So we're going to give this a nice little mix. And it doesn't need to be perfect, just enough that it is in the actual mix as one. So it's starting to look good, it smells good too. And as we do this, what I'm going to do is just take a small amount, once I'm happy with it, and we're going to just drop that into our vegetarian mix. And if you can hear the dog, we apologise for that, he has strong protective vibes. So we've got some marinade here, some in here. And what we're going to do is grab our chicken and we're going to drop that in. I'm going to be careful not to use my hands right now because we don't want to use our hands until I've handled the tofu. So in the chicken goes, that's going to make a really good marinade. So you will have seen that we diced the chicken and just made it into roughly the same size cubes, and then we're about to do the same thing with the tofu. And typically, again, you know, I've cooked this quite a few times, so I know how to do it. But you'd want to, if you've got a block like this, typically you're going to aim for roughly some decent sizes, kind of like that. So really nice, easy chop. And then what we're going to be able to do is take our marinade, which I have salted off camera, I apologise, just half a teaspoon of salt. We're going to get that in there, and then we're going to ask Gemma to grab herself a spatula. And she is going to come and mix this up so it is really nicely combined.
Is a mini spatula.
A mini spatula is good. And I'm going to do the chicken, which is why I've got the gloves. And as we're about to do that, I'm just going to dribble some really nice extra virgin olive oil on top and into here. Now, extra virgin olive oil, as anyone who has looked into healthy fats before will know, it is pretty much a go. There are very few better out there. So when we do our Greek salad, we put some on there. When we cook our Greek kebabs, we put some on there. We always try and get some healthy fats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like avocado.
Jared doesn't like avocado, so guacamole in this household is a three-person show, and Gemma is very sadly excluded.
Well, I was just thinking healthy fats, because avocado is a healthy fat.
Avocado is very healthy.
So this is a good replacement.
Yeah, and we do cook a lot with avocado oil. That is a totally another video about its high smoke point, which I'm sure we'll do if we get a solid momentum with making these videos. So
is this okay?
That's great. That's absolutely perfect. So if you just want to set that to the side, and I will make sure that this is good. Now, typically, you know, if we're ahead of time, I can make this marinade and let it soak in for overnight if you cover it and tightly seal it in the fridge. Today, we are hungry and it is late. We've had a busy day, so I'm not going to let this sit too long. We're just going to put it to the side and we're going to get started on the caramelized onion hummus. Right, we are back and we're about to do caramelized onion hummus. We've never made this before. Store-bought is fine. Store-bought is great. If there's a brand you like, go for it. We like to make interesting recipes. We've done baba ganoush and hummus, and we're actually going to make some tzatziki too on the fly. But this is all you need. This is it. Some extra virgin olive oil, a bit of tahini, some chickpeas, and some onions. And we're going to cook these down. So I'm going to start chopping, and in a second, Gemma's going to hit us with a pan on the heat. So the important thing here. So I am fairly laid back. You don't need to be too specific about how you're chopping the onion for this, because you're going to cook it nicely down and then you are going to blend it. Now, if you do not have a blender, I would encourage you to get one. Food processor or blender. I encourage you to get one because in terms of making healthy whole foods on a frugal budget, that is the exact kind of tool that is an amazing investment. So that's why we're just going to do a really...
Can I ask a question?
Of course you can.
Is the pan meant to be on heat straight away?
Yes, that's absolutely fine. And if you could do me a huge favour and get some of that wonderful butter that we have over there and take about 10 to 15 grams and just drop it into that pan, and I will sauce our final onion. Okay, so we have our first onion down. Now it's going to be ready to go in the pan. And then as Gemma gets ready, I will chop the next one. Another investment, if you think about investments in the kitchen, I often think about investments typically in the bedroom. But if you're thinking about investing in the kitchen, then I would recommend good knives as well. Good knives last a lot longer, and they are much safer to use than cheaper knives. So if you are ever trying to think about ways to make your cooking easier and more fun, I personally much prefer a good knife, and that way you are keeping your fingers safe, and you are keeping your food prep to a minimum.
Is this enough?
That looks beautiful. Oh, I have onion on my fingers. So we've got our onion, and we are going to dump it in the pan. And we're going to give that a nice coating in the butter. Yeah, good. And for the sake of time, typically I say cook this down nice and slow. But we are... Of course you can. Make it your own. We're going to do a little bit of tidy up, and then we are going to start poking some chicken and some tofu with some metal.
Not chicken and tofu though.
No.
It's not a David Brent moment. Okay, now we're going to make our skewers. Andrew's going to do the chicken, and I have got gloves on because I'm going to do the tofu skewers, and obviously we're going to do everything separate because we don't want, thank you, we don't want the vegetarian stuff going anywhere near the meat stuff for obvious reasons. So,
be careful not to poke your partner. That's not for the kitchen. Now, this bit, we've got 6 skewers between us, and Gemma's going to do a couple in the tofu. If you don't have skewers, that is fine. It doesn't have to be a kebab. The reason we like the metal skewers is it cooks the chicken more evenly from the middle because the metal gets hot. You can use soaked wood if you want to. Make sure you soak the wood in water so that it doesn't burn on either side. Or if you just want to chuck this onto a baking pan, it's going to taste exactly the same. So you don't need skewers. We're being a bit fancy.
You just like it.
Yeah, it's Saturday night.
It's
Why
fun.
not? So this bit is about to be a time lapse. That is perfect.
Look at my skewer. Looking all cool.
Right, we have 5 wonderful looking chicken skewers, and we have 1 excellent looking tofu skewer and some extra. Now, as I said, you don't need skewers. You could just bake this stuff. It's going to taste amazing one way or the other. The important thing is, for the chicken in particular, that it's nicely packed in. With the metal skewers, you can get away with a bit more because the conduction is going to come through the center because they're metal. And we've had the oven preheating on just over 180. And what we're going to do, the chicken is going to take a little longer to cook than the tofu, so we're going to bang this one in. And all the while, we've had these awesome onions cooking down. And these are almost ready to become caramelized onion hummus. For caramelized onion hummus, all you're going to need is some chickpeas. We're going to drain them and wash them. You're going to need a bit of tahini, and you're going to need some extra virgin olive oil, and we're also going to get some seasonings. Okay, so we've got some salt, we've got some pepper, and we've got some cumin. We ran out of cumin earlier. We always have cumin. And we've got some extra virgin olive oil, and that is all you're going to need. So we're talking 2 seasonings, some salt, some extra virgin olive oil, a little bit of tahini, a little bit of chickpeas, and these are beautiful, beautiful caramelized onions that we have been cooking on in the background. So all that we're going to have to do is drain and wash these chickpeas. Always rinse your chickpeas. A lot of people might say they have digestive discomfort when they eat beans or legumes. It's not because of the chickpeas. It is the sort of starchy water that they sit in can sit heavy on the stomach and make things no bueno. So the easiest thing to do is just rinse them in cold water. So that is exactly what I'm going to do in a second. Then we're going to dump them in here with 100 grams of tahini, 30 grams of olive oil, and 1 teaspoon each of these, and 1 teaspoon of salt. I also neglected to remember everyone's best friend in the kitchen, garlic. We're going to use a little bit of that too. So what we're going to do now, we've drained our chickpeas. They're just out of camera. They're feeling a little bit shy. We have our onions ready to go. So what we're going to first do is just dump them right in. Oh, they smell good. After that, we are going to take Gemma and she is going to put some tahini in here. Now, we are going to go with about 100 grams of tahini for those who want specifics. So off you go with your 100 grams.
I don't know how much 100 grams is.
I will tell you.
Okay. With a tablespoon or the teaspoon?
I would use a tablespoon for this one. It's going to take a while with a teaspoon. So you're looking at about 3 really big teaspoons here.
Okay.
Because,
oh, it smells good.
Yeah, ground sesame.
It smells kind of like, sesame and peanut butter mixed together. Like sesame and peanut butter had a baby.
We're after between the but it depends how much you like the flavour of tahini. We want it to shine in this hummus, so we're going to go with about 100 grams. You could dial it down, you could dial it up, entirely up to you. And then as I do the spices, Gemma is going to get ready to add the lubricant. We are going to add about just over half a teaspoon of salt. We're going to add half a teaspoon of white pepper. Again, you could use black pepper, you could use rainbow pepper, just don't skip out on the pepper. Then we're going to do about half a teaspoon of cumin and 1 teaspoon of garlic powder right in. Yeah, it smells.
Oh, that's fragrant.
Yeah, it smells good.
Wow.
It smells good.
So what am I doing?
You're going to add about 30 grams. 30 grams? So that's 2 tablespoons of the...
Can I use the same tablespoon?
You can hover it over should you choose.
Okay.
Let it overflow, because extra virgin olive oil is not to be skipped on, not just because it really enhances this recipe, but because of how good it is for your heart health. And as Gemma does that, I'm going to come out and back in of shot, and here are our drained and rinsed chickpeas.
I might have gone a bit overboard.
Okay. Too much lube is rarely a problem.
You're not Nigella.
We put it in the microwave. And whilst all of this has been happening, we're about 8 minutes into cooking the chicken, so we are about to pop in the tofu.
How long does the tofu take?
The tofu will cook at room temperature about 190, no more than 20 minutes.
Which works well with the chicken.
It worked great with the chicken.
Okay.
Okay, so I made this recipe as we went, and you're going to need to add 60 milliliters of single cream because it was way too thick. So we thinned it out a little bit, and the texture looks good. It smells great, and we're going to put this in a bowl. So come over with me. We're going to get this in a bowl. We're going to put it in the fridge whilst we finish the food so it can cool down a little bit because those onions have made it a little bit warm. All right, the chicken is almost done. The hummus is in. We're going to make some very quick tzatziki shortly, but we're going to get started on the Greek salad, which is literally for us. You can do it with feta. You can add in red onion if you like it raw. But for us, in this household, we tend to just keep it really simple. We go iceberg lettuce, some cucumber, some olives, and some cherry tomato. So as I get chopping on the cucumber, Gemma is not massive into cucumber, so we are going to go a little lighter on that. And then as I get the iceberg lettuce going and as I get the cucumber going, she's going to put in some cherry tomatoes and some olives. So we are going to just do a rough dice with a nice amount of iceberg lettuce. That will do. And then I tend to like it cut in half and then just a rough chop. So it's got a little bit of character to it, a little bit of texture. And that will just go boom, right in there with the tomatoes and the olives. And then we're going to add some of the goat fat of the world, the extra virgin olive oil.
Can I just say that if you are keto or you're looking to be keto and you want something sweet because, you know, you're sort of like in the first few weeks of it and you haven't yet come around to dealing with the cravings, which do dissipate, cherry tomatoes are amazing. Like, they literally, if you have them in your fridge and you have that sweet craving for something, just pop a cherry tomato in. They're so sweet, they're so fresh, and it just dulls that need for something else. I put the whole pack in.
That's fine, yeah, as long as you're hungry for cherry tomatoes, that's good.
We're gonna pop this one.
You do it. Now, once we've got the salad base, which Gemma is about to finish, we are going to grab our extra virgin olive oil once again. Now, I wonder why Greek people live longer than most. I personally think they've got a pretty clean whole food diet, and they have a lot of extra virgin olive oil. So maximum here of 2 tablespoons. You don't want it to be greasy. You want coating it.
Just so you know, I put the whole pot of olives in.
We love olives.
Yeah, we love olives.
And then just a pinch of salt. And then what we're going to do, would you like to do it or do you want me to get my hands dirty?
You love getting your hands dirty.
So we are gonna toss the salad. I'm gonna take off my amazing rings, which includes my Aura ring. That's another video. See, we're not putting it on a restaurant dish. This is just a nice homey family dish. So my hands are obviously clean. We have our extra virgin oil with a little bit of salt. You can add herbs if you want. We've got a lot of flavour going on with the chicken. We've got a lot of flavour going on with the hummus.
I like it as it is. Like, I prefer it fresh with just some oil, some salt. It's really nice. Again, like coupled with the chicken or familiar with the tofu, it really does work.
Now, sometimes I like some lemon juice. We don't have any lemons today, so no lemon juice, but feel free to chuck that in if you are so inclined. Now, this is ready. The hummus is ready. The chicken is ready, and we're going to chop together a very quick tzatziki just to finish this off. Okay, so we've already got the hummus, but why not? We have a little bit of time. We're going to make some tzatziki. It is one of Gemma's absolute favourites. Now, we have some Greek yogurt here. There's not that much left. There's a perfect amount for tzatziki, and that means we can just make it right in the tub. And all we're going to need is some mint, some Greek yogurt, some cucumber, a little bit of salt, and if I feel naughty, we're going to put a little bit of extra olive oil in that too. So that could stay there for now. Now, the important thing with tzatziki is that the cucumber dice is really nice and fine, because what you do not want necessarily, unless you dig it, is a huge glob of cucumber as you're going through. So you're going to see I've cut it 4 ways, and then I'm dicing nice and fine as I possibly can, and that's going to give us a good starting point for our cucumber. So again, cut 1, 2, 3. We did 5 this time because we're going hard. What do you think of tzatziki, Gemma?
I love it. Your tzatziki is pretty wild. It's so good.
Yeah. Now, what we're going to do here, so we've got a nice, relatively fine chopper. To make it really fine, pound it into oblivion. Okay, so we have a nice amount of cucumber here, too much cucumber for my taste, so we're just going to take a rough handful of that and we're going to drop it right in. We'll leave the excess, and our dog loves cucumber, so he can eat that later. And then we have some mint, which is the powerhouse of the tzatziki. About 2 teaspoons here. You want to be generous with it. Then we have some salt, and I only have a tablespoon, but we're going to do about a teaspoon worth of salt. That's going to go in. And then we have a little bit of extra virgin olive oil. That's going to go in, not a lot, half a tablespoon, and we will get mixing. We are now ready to plate. We have our tzatziki. We have our caramelized onion hummus. We have our Greek salad, and right behind me in the oven, we have our tofu kebabs and our chicken kebabs. We're going to get all those out. And the last thing, the pièce de résistance, we've got some tortilla wraps. Now, you can use pita. If Cora was with us today and not on a sleepover, we would definitely be warming some pita up. She is a sucker for pita and hummus. But I think I fancy a couple of wraps today. Gemma being keto, she won't have them. My macros are very different to hers. My macros are about 40% protein a day, 40% carbs a day, 20% fat. You can see what I aim for here. Ding! You can also see that today I've had quite an active day and I've burned almost 1,000 calories just by exercising and a walk. So I'm aiming today for about 3,500 calories. I'm trying to be in a bit of a modest deficit. It's just been Christmas, so I'm trying to get my lean back, and I've burned about 1,000. So I'm going to aim for 2,500 today. I've already had only about 600. So today's dinner is going to be a big one. Core protein, the kebabs, is going to work for Gemma and me. The Greek salad, I'm going to get some greens. Gemma's going to focus on that. The pizzas are going to help me hit my carb goals. And we've got the tzatziki, which is keto friendly, nice high-fat yogurt. And she can have a little bit of caramelized onion hummus, not to take her outside of her ketosis. But we will essentially do this every night, where there'll be a core protein,
Yeah.
And then we'll have some carbs on the side for those that are into carbs. We'll have a vegetarian version for Millie so that she is able to stick to that. And then Gemma will be able to load up on the veggies and the greens, which is great because they are not my forte.
Even though we all eat differently, Andrew, myself, Millie, and Cora all eat differently, we make it work as a family on a budget with one dinner. Just working around what everybody needs and wants and desires or has a preference to.
And now comes the fun bit. We get to eat.